Ladies and gentlemen, this here is a Langsat, and I am excited to say that this Langsat is with me here at my home in New York City, which I never thought I would see this day, because Langsats are one of my favorite fruits. I don't think it's on my top 10, because there's nothing like too crazy with it, but it is a fruit that like I have eaten in abundance, and I have a lot of nostalgia for this because when I was in Malaysia, I was actually there doing shows. I was doing stage shows there. I had a little desk in my hotel room, and what I would do is I would go down to the market on my days off. I would get a bag of Langsats as well as all sorts of other weird fruit, but always Langsats, and I would put them in my desk. And throughout the day, between shows, I would go into my room and I'd be hungry, I'd reach in, I'd grab a bunch of Langsats and eat Langsats. They are kind of like a simple taste, but they're really addictive. They're really, really addictive, and I haven't been able to eat one in 5 years. It's actually taking some restraint right now not to eat this thing right now. And I was given this opportunity to eat more Langsats and satisfy this addiction of mine by Miamifruit.org. So Miamifruit, thank you so much. They have these available on their website. There is one caveat though. Langsats are super duper perishable. So these are frozen Langsats that you have to defrost. So I'm a little conflicted because I am addicted to these. I want these to scratch that itch. But I've never had one frozen before, and I'm not sure how well Langsats freeze. So I defrosted these according to how Miamifruit suggested doing it, and that is you take a bowl of water, you pour the Langsats in there whole, and you let it sit on your counter for between 30 and 60 minutes. It's been about probably 40 minutes, and these things are soft now. They feel like a fresh Langsat. The outside, you can see, is a little bit dark. That's not normal. Normally Langsats are more of a white color. So Langsats come in a few different varieties. There's also one called Longkong and Duku, which there is some debate amongst people if they are the same thing or different things. I've had both, and they do have a little bit of differences to them. I have made a review of the Langsat before, many years ago, and on that video I've gotten probably 1,000 comments saying that these are really popular in the Philippines. In the Philippines they're called lazones. Lazones, I might be saying that wrong. Just like having to peel it and everything, you might think that this is like a lychee or a longan or a rambutan, but then when you open it up, you see on the inside it has little wedges, which is a little bit more like a garcinia, more like a mangosteen. And this little guy here actually separates relatively easily into little wedges like that. And like a mangosteen, larger wedges can have a seed inside, little teeny seeds, and you want to spit those out because those could be bitter, and the smaller ones don't have seeds. Just from holding these in my hands, I can tell that the texture on these is going to be pretty close to how they were in Malaysia. This feels right. It's rubbery, but the frozen ones are maybe like a little less firm than when you get them fresh, but it's been 5 years, but from what I can tell, it's pretty darn close either way. Alright, so let's try a wedge. It's been a long time. Let's see if it's everything I remember. Good. It's good. You know, I can't say it's as good as having them fresh, but you know, it's pretty close. Some fruit doesn't freeze very well. I was afraid with these because they have kind of like a gelatinous sort of texture the way that a grape can, that it would be kind of like that it might be mushy. It's not mushy. Oh man, I'm having like a moment here because I haven't had this sort of flavor and texture in a long time. but it's like kicking that sense memory. Oh yeah, I have to be careful not to eat all of these before I give you a review, because it's gonna be hard for me to get more. The flavor of this is not too hard to explain, but what's hard to explain about it is kind of like the more nuanced flavors of it. Because like the main flavor that you get is recognizable. It's kind of like pomelo. And if you haven't had pomelo, pomelo is like grapefruit, but without bitterness. It tastes similar enough to grapefruit that I wonder if people who can't have grapefruit can actually eat this. Because grapefruit has a compound in it that will interfere with some medication. I'm not sure. My guess is that whatever is in grapefruit that makes it so you can't have it with medication is probably also in this thing, because it tastes quite similar. There's also a flavor that's kind of like lychee or rambutan. And if you haven't had rambutan, think kind of like grape, but not really a grape. Like it has certain compounds that might be in a grape. There's a little bit of a resin sort of flavor to it, like almost like a tiny bit of like a pine flavor, which it's in a small quantity in here is actually kind of nice. You get that flavor in a lot of citrus fruit. The sweetness of this is not very high. I'd say it's less than an apple, but not by that much. So I'd say maybe like a 4 out of 10. And it is tart, but it's tart in kind of like a weird way, because it both feels pretty sour, but when you think about it, it's maybe not that sour. I think it's like the resiny flavor in there kind of like tricks me a little bit. I would say the tartness on it is less than an orange, maybe a 3 out of 10. This being frozen and defrosted makes it a little bit different than the fresh. It feels like it's a little bit milder. So these are the flavors I remember, but it's maybe a little bit less. It's like maybe a little less sour than I remember, a little less sweet than I remember, and a little less flavorful than I remember. But not by that much. It's still what I recognize. And it is definitely scratching the itch. You know, like this is bringing me back. This is giving me that thing that I miss. These are admittedly kind of expensive. You know, this is something that is a specialty item. Miamifruit is not a bargain fruit place. This is a web store that sells things that are very, very hard to get your hands on. And this is no exception there. But if you're like me and you really, really miss having this fruit, I could see splurging on this. I could see myself splurging on this and having like a moment to go back in time for a bit and remember those good days when I was sitting around eating Langsats out of a drawer in my hotel room. Or if you've never had it and you just want to get your hands on something really, really good, then I'd say it's definitely one to check out. Be careful though. Take them slow, because it'd be very easy to inhale an entire bag of these. So I think that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks again to Miamifruit for sending these to me. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye. I would like to give a shout out to Smarter Every Day, AltPod, and the Harbor Lee Tea Company. They are mega patrons over on Patreon.com. If you haven't heard of it, Patreon.com it's how this channel happens. It's how I can afford to keep this YouTube channel going. So if you haven't checked it out, please take a moment to go into the description below and click the link there. I also have t-shirts for sale over at my web store. A link to that is in the description as well. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.